All right, so good evening, everyone. Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and New Upsilon Omega Chapter presents Business 101, The Serious Matters. Tonight, I'm so excited because I have my soror Michaela with me, but we also have some great panelists tonight to help us discuss all things business. We have Judge Andrew Palmer. He's a licensed attorney and the current Chief Magistrate Judge here in Burke County, and so we're glad to have you, Judge Palmer, and if you would, soror, introduce Ms. Stacy Key.
Yes. It is an honor to introduce one of our speakers for the evening, who just so happens to be a member of our beloved Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Ms. Stacy J. Key. Stacy Key is the President and Chief Executive Officer of the Georgia Minority Supplier Development Council, which is GMSDC. It's the state of Georgia's leading advocacy organization for supplier diversity and small business development, which you will talk about a little bit later. She's also a veteran of 25 years in corporate America. She is an experienced entrepreneur and is actively involved in the community. So we have two speakers who are coming with a wealth of knowledge in their fields, and we're excited to hear from them. So I'm going to turn it back over to you, soror Shatoria.
All right, so our first two questions we're going to go to Judge Palmer, and it is surrounded about why is it important to form a formal business, an LLC or a corporation, and how does that tie into protecting our personal assets as a business owner?
Thank you, Shatoria. I'm glad to be here. The biggest perk about actually forming a business organization would be that it limits our personal liability for any issues we may have with our business, right? So talking about an LLC, for instance, personal asset protection. If there is a lawsuit connected to a business activity or a business issue, then the LLC provides certain protections for your personal assets, right? To cut it short and explain it in layman terms, a litigant can't attach your personal assets or sue you personally for an issue that arose from your business dealings. And then there are also taxation benefits that come with forming an LLC versus some of the other business organizations. Each of the business organizations have their own perks and benefits that come with forming them. Taxation benefits for an LLC will be pass-through taxation. That is, profits and returns can offset personal income tax. And then there's also simplicity of an LLC versus some of the other organizations. You don't have to worry about officers or other positions, unlike corporations or some of the other business organizations. And then credibility is the final thing. You know, it kind of helps people, or you gain people's trust by knowing that you are legit, for lack of a better word. It reassures customers that you are a real business. So I would implore, any, new business owner or burgeoning business owner to consider, the different opportunities for the different business organizations, and then speak with a tax advisor and a business attorney to actually, figure out what are the perks of each, and then make your decision wisely.
One more question for you, Judge, and then we'll throw the next one through soror Michaela. Is it important to have contracts in place? And how does that maybe help or prevent us from being sued later on, whether it's with your employees or with your customers?
Absolutely. It is absolutely important to have contracts in place, right? I was flipping through some old receipts that I had in the cup holder of my car the other day. And I just so happened to read the bottom of the receipt. And I said, oh my goodness, this is an adhesion contract, right? Even a receipt that you get from the store has certain terms and conditions that basically establish the nature of the business relationship from the outset. So it is absolutely important. It's imperative on business owners to, go that extra step after you establish that good working relationship, to actually put everything in writing and to memorialize it so that the parties are well aware of their obligations and for the relationship prior to undertaking the business endeavor. I think we're muted.
We can't hear you.
Sorry. I was saying thank you for that great information, Judge Palmer. Soror Key, the first question that I have for you is, as someone who works with many new and small business owners, what would you say are the most important tasks as an owner should take care of before launching their business?
And just to piggyback on what Judge Parmo said, you really need to make sure you've got your structure in place, your business structure in place, whether you decide to be an LLC or S Corp or anything else. That needs to be really in place. And you need to register, do things like registering with the state, a Secretary of State, to say that you are a legitimate business. And again, as you're thinking about a business, there are lots of resources out there to support and help you. And so if you've got an awesome idea and you're thinking about starting a business, I would suggest that you leverage some of the free resources that are available throughout our state versus fee services. So free, I'm big on free and using all the free before I get to the fee. And so my suggestion would be, you've got a great idea, you want to bounce it off somebody. There's some organizations across the state that are incredible, have great resource, great information. The Small Business Development Centers, we call them SBDCs. They're throughout the state of Georgia. They're attached to the University of Georgia. And their whole mission is to help small and emerging businesses throughout the state. Business plan. Do I need to understand, do some research, understand who my customer might be? Do I need to know who competitors in the space that I'm thinking about? They can help you with all of that. Even the part of deciding which structure, whether LLC, S Corp, or whatever, or Inc Corp, is best for your business. They can take you through all of that, and they're free. They're attached to most of the universities throughout the state. You can Google SBDC Georgia online. They're a wealth of information, and they are incredible. We formed a partnership with them for GMSDC. They have coaching, they have mentoring, they have classes, they have everything you need to help a business get off the ground and help a business grow and thrive.
Great, thank you. Victoria?
If you would have filtered one more question, Sora Michaela.
Yes. So what are some key steps or tips for securing funding for a new business, such as grants?
And so, again, if you're thinking about a grant, which is something you typically don't have to pay back in most cases, they're going to want to know a lot about your business when you do a grant. They're going to ask you for a business plan, or they want to know what you're doing, and what they're going to ask sometimes for financial statements. And so, if you're thinking about getting a grant, there's an organization that we're a member of called the Foundation Center. It's Grants and Foundations. They have every single foundation and grant that you can imagine that's in this state. In fact, they have a national network of grants and foundations as well that you can tap into. They've got classes that they will take you through and how to put together a grant. What are all the key components that you need? They'll give you templates as well. But there are lots of resources. Again, the SBDC can help you. SBA can help you. The Small Business Administration can help you. But when you're thinking about funding, grants would not be the first place to go. Depending on your business and your structure, there are other options that you might want to consider around funding. But all of them are going to ask you, are you registered to do business in the state? Do you have a business plan? Do you have financial statements? And if you're a startup, you may not have business financials, but they're going to look at your personal tax returns and to understand. So making sure you have all the key components, making sure you understand again, your competitors, your customers, and the opportunity. Who are the corporations that you want to target that are looking for your product and service here in Georgia, if you're looking to do business here in Georgia? All of that's going to be required when you're doing grants, because they're going to ask for all that information. All that's going to be required when you're looking in any kind of financial institution. And there's some great ones. All the banking partners are great. They've got some organizations that are focused on venture capital, seed funding for startups. All of those things are available. Georgia has a rich ecosystem of resources and organizations that can support minority businesses, Black and minority businesses. But they're going to ask you to be buttoned up, have all the documentation you need. And again, you can get help to get all that done free. You don't have to pay anything. It doesn't get any better than that.
I think that's all our favorite words.
Right, free. I like that free word.
Free.
Yeah.
And so with free, we are so grateful that Judge Palmer's getting ready to give us some more free legal advice. Is there anything as far as just special advice about navigating tax issues? I know you've done some tax litigation, and you mentioned that's one of the number one things people come to you about as far as their businesses. So any special advice about how do we navigate with our taxes in business?
Right. So before we get into the question about taxation, I do want to say another piece about contracts, right? From a perspective of the actual legal environment, right? I think it will help business owners to think about contracts as, not this, grind my teeth, pain in the neck type of deal. It's actually your protection. If and when there is a legal issue and you find yourself in court, because it probably will happen, it happens very frequently, judges and courts will interpret the terms of the contract. The rule of interpretation called the four corners of the contract. So if you memorialize the specifics of your business relationship, you can have that comfort in knowing that down the road, when and if something does occur, that the requirements and the obligations of the parties have already been established, and the court will enforce that contract absent some issue out of the ordinary. And then turning to the piece about taxation, plan ahead of time, right? That is the biggest thing that a lot of small business owners will run into. When I did a lot of tax law, I would have a lot of small business owners who would come to me 10, 15 years down the road, and they haven't filed their taxes years and years and years. They haven't paid their advanced, their quarterly taxes. And so then they get hit with this tax burden from one year that carries over into the next year, and they haven't corrected the issues that led them to get into that spot. And it just compounds and it compounds and compounds and becomes a sum that just you cannot pay because your business won't support it. So, just the failure to plan. If we plan ahead and know what our obligations are before we go into it, we can make sure that we pay these taxes and don't necessarily get into those situations that would cause it to be some huge burden that would then basically ruin our business. It will be the downfall of our business for failure to plan and failure to pay those taxes ahead of time when they are due. The IRS, as much as we hate those three letters, there are a lot of resources out there for small business owners. They intentionally make it very simple. They attempt to make it very simple. It may not seem fair that we have to pay such a large amount of our money in taxes, but the protocol and the process for paying that has been laid out and simplified for small business owners. So there's really, with the resources that we have at hand, there's really no excuse to fall behind on your taxes these days. But always consult with an attorney, a financial advisor. Have those people in your back pocket. CPAs, have your CPA in your back pocket for when those questions arise. You're ready. You know who to refer to get help with those issues.
Could you tell them what a CPA is, Judge, just in case someone's watching and they may not be aware?
God, say it. I've worked with them. If you wouldn't have asked, I would have known, right? What's the acronym stand for? So, my CPAs, whenever we work with CPAs, right, we know that's where we refer to people for actually filing the taxes, right? So we handle the issues with the tax court, and the CPAs handle everything else. God, if you wouldn't have asked me, I would have known. So I had a mind.
Certified public accountant.
Certified public accountant. Right. There you go.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot, Judge.
No problem.
Last question that I have for you is just what are some other risks that we can look to avoid? I know I took your law school class and you talked about torts and different things like that. So just what are some things that people can be on the lookout for to try to avoid beyond the things that we've already discussed?
I mean, from contracts to taxation issues, making sure that if you have a business, a storefront, that it is a safe place, eliminating any known and obvious dangers, warning people where there may be an unsafe condition, putting up signs. I know, with the COVID-19 pandemic, we've seen a lot of signs on the front of stores that say, hey, we are not liable for the commission or transmission of COVID-19 if you enter this place. So you got to be flexible as a business owner. You got to be, ever aware of those threats that could, upheave or lead to upheaval in your business. Pay attention, read continuously, stay aware of the changing economic landscape and what might be the next hot button issue for business owners, and then always be willing to adapt. Actually, it gets difficult sometimes, I believe, for business owners to take a step back from what they love, which is operating their business or whatever that end game is, whether it be, insurance, or whatever business you may run. Taking a step away from that and actually devoting time to building your business, those things that are often mundane, but they lead to a better functioning business in the end game in the long run. So I would say, devote those hours each week to what we refer to as, actually team building, or building the strength of your organization from the bottom up, and it will really carry you well in the long run.
Okay, great. So, as I mentioned earlier, Sorority is the president and chief executive officer of the Georgia Minority Supplier Development Council. So, I wanted to ask you, Ms. Keaton, can you explain the ins and outs of a Minority Supplier Development Council and give us some of the benefits of connecting with one?
Absolutely. Thank you. And Judge Palmer, I'm telling you, you were awesome, on point. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
So GMSDC is a 45-year-old not-for-profit organization that was started by some of the iconic brands that you know and love here in Georgia. The Coca-Cola Company, Georgia Power Southern Company, Delta Airlines, and Cox Enterprises. So these organizations came together 45 years ago and decided that they wanted to include more minority businesses in their supply chain. They wanted to do more business with these businesses. So they formed this organization, and our whole mission is to connect minority businesses, which are African American, Asian, Native American, Latina businesses, to corporations to do business. So we're a membership-based organization, and so all the ones, not just locally but nationally, that you know and love are members of GMSDC. And what we do, we provide a certification. I know hopefully some of your listeners have heard of a certified minority business. That's what we do on behalf of our corporations. We certify, develop, and connect them to corporations to do business. And so we host a series of educational kinds of things, a strategic alliance and partnerships, understanding taxes, the judge mentioned, how to do business with corporate America, succession planning, making sure your business is corporate ready. There's a whole series of things that we do to help develop the businesses to make sure they're ready to do business with corporations. Also, GMSDC took over a mentoring program from the state of Georgia about 10 years ago called the Georgia Mentor Protege. It's where you're partnered with a corporation for 1 year for them to focus on you. So think about it. If a Coca-Cola or a Cox or a Southern Company is partnered with your company for 1 year, and all they're focused on is helping your business grow and bringing the resources to the table from their organizations to make that happen. And so we've got a mentoring program that we do as well to help businesses grow. And then ultimately, again, we make those connections to corporations so that you can do business. And so many small businesses don't really have the access. It's not like a small business can knock on the door of a Coca-Cola and say, hey, I've hung up my shingle and I'm ready to do business. It's very difficult. But the Coca-Cola comes to me, my organization, and says, listen, I'm looking for someone in IT. I'm looking for marketing. I'm looking for manufacturing. So they come to organizations like GMSDC and say, I'm looking for suppliers to do business. And my job, if I want to keep it, is to get them the suppliers that they need. My whole mission is connecting the suppliers with the corporations. Since we're a membership based, I've got to prove that our membership has value. So I consistently work very hard in my entire team. And it's not really me, it's this awesome team that I have. It's not me, it's them that makes this magic happen. And so, for example, in September of last year, the governor declared it Minority Business Opportunity Week, and every county, most counties in the metro area, Gwinnett, Fulton, Clayton, Cobb, all of them declared Minority Business Opportunity. So we worked in partnership. We brought over 300 opportunities to the table for minority businesses. So we did matchmaking, we did panel discussions, we did one-on-one sessions all around business for minority business. And, we're in the middle of a pandemic. And so we've had to pivot a bit from our programming, doing a lot of educational, because people can't eat education. Right now, they need business. And so our number one priority is focused on business, whether it's corporation, state and local government, whether it's global, whether you're exporting, and our business doing business with each other. Many times, minority businesses miss doing business with each other. And I'm going to share with you, Michaela, a quick example. We have a forum we call First Friday, where the businesses can come together and talk and meet and with each other. And so one of our business owners sells the paper to Staples and Office Depot. And so I said, who in here uses paper? Every hand went up. I said, but who buys from him? Not one hand went up. They all go to Staples and Office Depot. Well, guess what? You can buy directly from another minority business. And so there are lots of opportunities like that we just don't think about. And so our focus is around making more awareness around doing business with other minority businesses as well. But our primary focus as an organization is to make sure the corporations have the resources and suppliers they need to do business. Now, I will tell you, in 2019, that represented about $6 billion in this state alone. So just take a minute and absorb that. That's 6 with a B. Corporations did business with minority business. I think it was 6.92. And with a B. So there's a whole lot of business to be done. That doesn't count business with each other. That's with corporations. That doesn't count government. I also happen to sit on the State Transportation Board, which also works with disadvantaged businesses as well. And so that's a whole nother opening up all the state and local opportunities as well to do business. So there is opportunity. We're focused on that. And so the value of being attached to an organization or becoming a certified business is that we're helping you navigate that, because entrepreneurship is a team sport, and it's a sport that requires engagement. You can't sit on the sideline and be successful. You need to get engaged and be intentional about the actions you take. And so being certified is an investment. It's not for every business, not clearly. There are great organizations that you can be a part of. We partner with the Atlanta Business League. I love ABL. The Black Chamber, the U.S. Pan Asian Chamber. We partner with those other organizations, Metro Atlanta Chamber. There are great organizations that can open doors. So if you decide being a certified business and part of GMSDC, again, it's more intentional, because that's what our mission is, to connect. Some of the organizations have other missions, but they're awesome organizations to be a part of that can help you still grow your business.
That's great. And so for someone who may be online that's interested in joining, can you walk them through the membership process?
Let me tell you a couple things we do. They can go to our website at www.gmsdc.org. They can look at and just click on Get Certified, and it tells you the benefits. All of that's laid out. It's a process. Every month we host a pre-certification briefing where you can get on a call and with a couple of hundred of your closest friends, and you can hear the process. You can ask questions. You can get everything you need about certification. So we make it pretty easy to do. So you can go to our website. You can attend a pre-certification briefing, which is the first Tuesday of every month is the briefing. And it's so you sit in the comforts of your home and you listen to and talk about certification so that you have everything. We have a checklist online to tell you what you're going to need so that you don't have to go into this blindly. It tells you, yep, you're going to need to be registered with the Secretary of State that you are a legitimate business. We're going to ask for tax returns. So Judge Palmer, you might be a good a resource as you think about it. We're going to ask you about your business. We're going to ask you about signature cards, banking. We're going to make sure you are able to be a certified minority business, which requires that you are 51% owner of the business, and you must own, manage, and control that business to be certified as a minority business. You got to have control. You got to be running stuff. Okay. You got to be running stuff.
Okay, awesome. And so I know we talked about funding in the beginning of the event, so I kind of want to circle back and ask, are there any potential barriers or any common barriers that you have known for business owners to sometimes run into when searching and applying for funding resources?
One of the number one things around funding is the everybody's going to ask you for some financial documents. And if you don't have buttoned up financial documents, it's going to delay the process. It doesn't matter who you go to. There are, unless you go into family and friends, which is always a good option, they're going to ask you for some financial statements. And so a lot of small businesses just don't have strong relationships with a banker, accountants, and lawyers. And those are the three people you need to have a solid relationship with. And so getting there to the table, not having financials is tough. Maybe they don't have an accountant. Maybe they're doing it themselves. And so a lot of times, depending on the bank, they want audited, or they want certified, or they want an accountant's review of some financials when it comes to money. Not always, but sometimes. So just having the back office operations buttoned up so you can articulate what you do, who you're doing it with, how you're growing your business. They're going to want to know all of that, because again, when people lend money, no matter who, they ultimately want it back. And so they want to make sure you're in a strong position to be able to do that. There are even other startup kinds of funding options, but again, they're going to ask the same questions, may not be as intense as your banker or a banker. They're going to ask the questions because, again, if it's money that you're going to give back over time for others to come behind you, they want to make sure you're in a solid position and you're poised for success, because everybody wants small businesses to be successful. They're the engine that drives this economy.
Right. Okay, and so my last question is actually for both you and Judge Palmer, and that's if you have any additional tips that you want to give business owners. Is there anything additional that you feel that new business owners should be researching before they launch their business, or just anything that you want to leave the audience with?
I would just say, again, leverage free versus fee. But if you're thinking of a business, there's, again, the small business development centers out there. They will take you through the research. They'll take you through the putting together the plan. They will have, SCORE has coaches. All of this resource is available to you already. And so I would leverage that. If you've got, we're in the middle of a pandemic, and great ideas are born out of this. And so this is where you pick up the phone or go online and say, I need to meet with somebody. I need to talk about what I'm doing and get some guidance and some support on what you're doing. You may want to join a chamber or one of the other organizations, again, so you have a tribe and a group that you can work within. All of that is good. But ultimately, it's going to come back to you and having a plan. And so I would leverage all the free resources that are out there in the community. Let me mention this too. I just thought about this one. In the middle of this pandemic, there are lots of the chambers have resources in dollars, and counties have dollars as part of the CARES Act that they're leveraging for small business. So depending on the county you're in the area, you might want to check to see if there might be some dollars available in those areas that you can leverage. But again, they're going to ask you questions about what you're doing, how you're doing it, and who you're working with to get it done. So be clear that you have a plan as you go forward and asking and requesting some of those incremental funds that might be available out there. But the SBDC, I'm telling you, they are an incredible organization. Paul Wilson, Mark Collier, some of the names, they're just incredible to work with. I'm just telling you.
I think Ms. Key has left us with an absolute wealth of knowledge. If I had anything to add, it would be to reiterate, to build those relationships. You know, have those people that you can call on when you have an issue that is not quite so directly connected to your business dealing. Attorneys, CPAs, you name it. You know, bankers. Put those people in your back pocket so that when the time comes, you know who to reach out to for help. And then planning, you know, build your business from the ground up. A lot of times as small business owners, especially, we jump in because we have an idea about what we want to offer, you know, what the end product will be. And we kind of overlook a lot of those small things that really help our businesses function well. So planning, and then leveraging relationships. And then sometimes it can feel like you're on an island all on your own, but reach out, you know, use the resources that Ms. Key touched upon. There are a lot of people out there that are willing to help you. And, you know, that's all I have to add to that.
Well, let me just say, Sorority, I was just, my mouth was open while you know, you couldn't see it because you were on the stream by yourself, but like Judge Palmer has said, and Soror Michaela, a wealth of knowledge. And so we're just so grateful for you taking the time out to speak with us, to educate us, to give us information, as you said, that is free, totally free. That's there to help us. But, you know, oftentimes we don't know where to go. So thank you for pointing us in the right direction. And thank you, Judge Palmer, for also giving us that awesome free legal advice. You know, sometimes, you know, everyone is not as fortunate to know a lawyer or to know a judge. And so it's great that you're able to come on and to educate us and try to help keep us out of trouble, right? To keep us on the straight street. So we appreciate you both so much. Any words left from you, Soror Michaela?
I just want to thank you both. I've learned a lot as a business owner myself, so I'm sure that other people who are online learned a lot. So thank you both for taking the time out to speak with us tonight. And I just hope everyone enjoyed this event, and I'm just wishing everyone success on their businesses.
On a small personal note, Sorority, would you please be my mentor? I was like, please let me sign up for her class, whatever it is. I want in.
So what I'm going to do is, Soror Michaela has my contact information. The Mentor Protege program has some requirements, but your request is for me on a personal level. So if you've got a business, what I'll commit to mentoring you in your business, regardless of GMSDC. So yeah, I have, and I'm going to pull you into a mentoring pool with other women of color. That is my passion, women of color. And so that's one of the areas that is clearly underserved. It doesn't get a lot of the resource, but we're going to make sure we get you what you need, okay?
Thank you so much. And again tonight, this is all courtesy of presented by Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated and New Upsilon Omega Chapter. Ski wee, soror, ski wee. Thank you all again for a wonderful night. Thank you to everyone who actually tuned in and watched. And please, the video will be up. Please feel free to share it, to go back and watch it again, because it will definitely be here. Again, thank you all so much. Hope everyone has a great night. Thank you again, Soror Stacey Key and Judge Andrew Palmer.
You guys stay healthy and safe.
You do the same. Thank you.
Take care.